March Madness fans, final round of 32 does start today at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I think this year's March Madness has been one of the hardest ones that I can remember to pick when it comes to who's going to win over who at this rate. Because we've seen several upsets. We've seen teams that are normally in the Elite 8, top 4, even the championship be eliminated. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop in to the second half of the round of 32 of March Madness 2024. As always, if you want to become part of the Cracking community, just smack that subscribe button, turn on the notifications, as we do keep up with sports, wrestling, and gaming content. With that, our first game is Marquette going up against Colorado. Both of these have made it to the round of 32, and Colorado was a big one. They have played in their first 4 game and made it. They made it through the first round, and now they're here at the round of 32, looking to be another big upset team on the running. Of course, with players to watch going into this one, Marquette's Tyler Kolkek. He returned, of course, from a 6 game absence where he was injured. Got 18 points, 6 rebounds, and 11 assists, and scored total of Marquette was 87 in the win against Western Kentucky. So he was a big impact help, in my opinion, for them. You can look to see him possibly do the same thing against Colorado. Colorado's person to look for impact is going to be a little different. Colorado's KJ Simpson was a clutch for them in the final first 4 game against Boise, and he also again was extremely lights out against Florida, scoring 23 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists while hitting a game-winning jumper. So when you look at this from a overall player aspect, Kolkek is healthy, and him being capable of being a big shooter. Cam Johnson and Daniel Doplin flanking him on the outside and being a healthy core. And then you got the big man inside who is great at picking up and also doing pick and rolls for them. The Marquette offense should have a huge advantage over Colorado's interior, who is not the best when it comes to paper stats for protecting the rim in the 2-point game. Colorado will have an edge, though, when it comes to glass play. The team in ranking is an elite rebound unit with 11th country in rebounding. Marquette does struggle on the glass, though. So, and from the free throw line, truly going to say that with that, you're going to easily see a potential upset. I'm taking Colorado to win this one just off of the performance to get to where they are and how they stand with the season leading into. Utah State versus Purdue will be another dominant game. The players to watch in this one for Utah is going to be Osabar, who attracts a ton of attention like he did against the win in TCU. He's huge at the rim with 13 points, 6 and 9 for shooting, and then he's great at doing assists for Utah. And then the rebound game as well. He's got the numbers there. Purdue with Eddie being an undersized player, at sometimes he destroys undersized defenses. He can score 30 points, 21 rebounds easily. And Utah State does have more size, incredibly weak on the interior, so that's going to be a great help for them. I would struggle to say that Utah State is going to keep up with this one. Purdue is a fast-paced offense. They're truly reliant on Osabar's gravity around the post to generate his offensive game. Utah State has a great 3-point shooting as well. That could help them when it comes to having not to be able to play inside. But the Purdue Boilermakers are not going to turn the ball over. and they're not going to force accidental turnovers. If they do turnovers, you'll probably see it on the glass with possible blocks and steals that way. I think that with the Boilermakers big man and being able to control the outside, I'm going to say that Purdue easily clean drives past the Aggies. James Madison has made it to the round of 32, and they're going up against Duke University. Players of impact for JMU is going to be T.J. Bickerstaff. He had 12 points, 9 rebounds, and forced 2 steals in a double-digit win last time around against Wisconsin. So I think if he can continue to play as well as he did last game, I don't see why he would have any issue being as dominant against Duke. Duke does have Kyle Fliplowski, who did not perform as well as what most would have thought. When he first entered the game, Kyle Fliplowski, he had a strange first round. He only scored 3 points, but he did provide great defense for the Blue Devils, so that was a great thing that he was able to keep the defense going. Of course, he had 3 blocks and 12 rebounds. I truly look at this as game is played on Duke's team. They got a great half court from what I have seen, and they are a strong defensive style team. I think that's something that Duke's always been extremely good at, is defense and protecting the rim and being good at forcing teams to shoot deep threes if they have to. James Madison, though, is also another great defense as well. The field goal percentage allowed is in the top 20 this year. Duke has been extremely sharp in what they call transitional defense, forcing teams to work at, like I said, the half court. And I do believe that the team's ability to clean up the glass around that as well is going to help them. So I would honestly say, with Duke being able to play at top level, they should be able to handle JMU University no problem, unfortunately. I'm going to take Duke to win this one as well. The Clemson Tigers are going up against Baylor. You do have several different players you can look at for impact, but I would say for Baylor, you're going to have Hall. Going to be a big impact this one. He did battle fouls really bad against New Mexico. He only got to play 19 minutes, but he did contribute high. He got 14 points and 3 rebounds. He'll be needed heavily Sunday against Baylor, who has blustered as an offense, but vulnerable interior defense. Clemson, on the other hand, has Bridges, who is on a absolute demolishing of Colgate's defense. He had 5 of his 8 threes for 23 points, 5 rebounds, shooting at 40%. And then Bridges will be tasked with staying hot this game as well, because with him being hot, it helps the other team. And Clemson does have a very good compact defense, so we'll see what happens. If you just look at it and break it down, Clemson can work inside and out with Hall, but he does have a slew of 3-point shooters, and the Baylor's defense does have those flaws on the outside. They're 294th in field goal percentage allowed at the rim. The Tigers, or Clemson, however you want to look at it, are an elite finishing team. Field goal percentage for them was around 33% all year round. They're also in the top 50 from 3 defense. But for me, I could easily see, even with Hall performing extremely well against that team, they're going to have to ensure that the 3 area is a highlight for them. And if they can, I'm going to take Baylor to win this one. Grand Canyon versus Bama. The players to watch for Grand Canyon is going to be Tyron Grant Foster, who is fresh off of 22 points, 7 rebounds, and navigated through St. Mary's defense, helping them advance to the round of 32. He's been very high on scoring all season, so this is nothing that anyone did not see coming, with nearly 20 points a game. Alabama's Mark Sears numbers were like a video game. He averages 21 points a game 51 from the field, 43 from beyond the arc, and 85 from the free throw line. He's all over the place, and if they can keep him red hot, I don't see why there'd be any issue in him not doing that again. He did get 30 points against Charleston, so they have to ensure that they have an answer for him all around when it comes to stopping that playmaker. Because if they can't single-handedly stop him, he could easily put up 30, 35 in this game today and make a huge name for himself at Alabama and make a big statement going deeper into March Madness. Now, Grand Canyon does have a decent top-round defense. They're able to run teams off the three-point line, and they can also shut them down on the interior. So that's going to be a big help for them. But Alabama is more focused on shooting threes and layups this year. They're 19th from the three, and they are focused on getting all of that to go in for sure. And you can tell that by Mr. Sears' performance. And they do it extremely well with a good field goal percentage all season. I do believe that Grand Canyon will have the ability to slow down the offense. I don't think we're going to see him put up as many points today as he did last. But I do believe that Alabama will barely get by Grand Canyon and go on to the Elite 16. The Northwestern Wildcats are going up against the Yukon Huskies. Northwest Boy Boy is the best option they have for an impact player. He has great attention last game from Florida Atlantic, and he still got 22 points and 5 steals in that game, and what good rotation on him all around. He was just dominating. And then for UConn, you got Donovan, who stood out to me last game as their defense is aggressive at generating turnovers. If you do remember, FAU turned it over 21. The team could stop FAU around the rim. The biggest and best center in the country, Kleeman, he shoots 65% on twos and fantastic at protecting the rim on the other end. Even though Northeastern plays excessively a 6-man rotation and were only able to use some of the offensive weapons, the Wildcats had only 3 players who scored more than 8 points in an overtime win and only played more than 20 minutes for 6 players. So in my perspective, looking at that, they are running out of stamina. Seems that they're running low on fumes. And I think that's going to be a huge thing that might give them some issues today going up against Utah unless they can get a good rotation going in. The Huskies, of course, the team is extremely deadly at the 3 line and shooting groups. The Wildcats have been vulnerable from deep all season. So if UConn can stay solid this game, I do expect them to come out and win this one. Houston is playing the Texas A&M Aggies. For Houston, Jamal Sheed dished out 9 assists in a blowout victory against Longwood, scoring 11 points as him and 6 of his other Cougar teammates scored 7 or more points. Sheed will also have to navigate a zone defense from Texas A&M and stay with an elite guard, Wade Taylor. Of course, for Texas A&M, looking at impact players, Wade Taylor is who we have to look at today. He's heating up, especially at the right time with it being March Madness. Evident in 7 threes against Nebraska's blowout win. The first meeting between Texas A&M and Houston. Houston won, but Taylor did get to score 34 points in that game. And we're wondering if the Cougars can find a way to rally against him, because of course we know it's March Madness. You can put 34 up in regular season. What can you do in March Madness? So we're not going to say it can't happen or it can happen, but When you look at last game they played against, Aggies lost by 4 in Houston, but they were out Bradford, and as Taylor did much of the heavy lifting for them. So they got their 4 pieces back now in March Madness. Perfect time, perfect setting. Texas A&M also rallied late, and with, of course, Radford healthy, the team's offense is playing the best it possibly can now. Texas A&M will hang around late in this one. I do believe in the final moments we will see Houston fall short, and we will get a Texas A&M wild upset. The final game for the round of 32, Yale versus San Diego. Yale's player to watch is John Poladaski, 3-point marksman. Of course, he is a lights-out shooter against Auburn, 28 points and making 6 of 9 threes. He is a junior for Yale and is 40% from the 3 line. San Diego State player to watch is Jaden Ledee. Ledee is one of the perimeter big men in the entire country. If you look at some of the stats, he does carry the Aztec through the second round, scoring 32 points and grabbing 8 rebounds. Yale had a huge comeback, so of course we got to give them a ton of credit for that. That does attribute to some of the comeback from what we would say is Auburn was nervous. Had 7 turnovers in the final 7+ minutes, so that's a turnover a minute, which, coming to any sports, turnovers is not the ideal situation. And they missed 5 free throws, which could have brought them back as well in this. So San Diego State can look at this game in one of 2 ways. Auburn's offense was incredibly effective for much of the game against Yale, shooting close to 60%. San Diego State wants to operate in the same aspect, and if it can be done against Yale, they can most definitely attempt to do it again, with San Diego State being the best post offense that we have seen, scoring more points per possession in the post. And of course, we all know Yale grades out as a post defense at times. So it just depends on which version of which team shows up. I do believe with it being a double-digit underdog for the Bulldogs, the defense is expected to compete against another elite defense today, just like they did against Auburn. I think that truly everyone is looking over Yale, and we're going to see a surprise upset yet again. Yale will take the game over San Diego State. Of course, as always, March Madness fans, this has been our picks and predictions for the final aspect of the round of 32. We do appreciate everyone who has been with us throughout these videos. We will do Sweet 16, Elite 8, and Final 4, and give you our championship outlook as well. Of course, as always, sports fans, hit that like, subscribe if you want to become part of the Kraken community, and as always, we're over and out.